Hi guys, Chris from Scotty Fish and Outdoor Products. I'm excited to talk to you about our new Downrigger plug-in socket combo. We feel the new plug-in socket is going to give you better reliability, better fit and finish, and better protection from the elements. Before we get into the installation, let's talk about this new connector. This is a 12-volt, 30-amp, IP67 and CE certified marine-grade plug-in socket. Equipped with multiple O-rings throughout and a reliable seal for your 10 to 14 gauge round or rectangular power cord. Our receptacle also comes with a new rubber cap to aid in waterproofing. The entire assembly has been improved right down to the gold connectors that help conduct electricity, help prevent corrosion, and internal stainless steel fasteners. Our new plug-in socket is going to be available in 3 SKUs. The plug on its own, the socket on its own, and the plug-in socket including the mounting brackets. The kit includes a 90-degree bracket with faceplate, also a flush mount with faceplate, and the included hardware. Now let's talk about how to disassemble and wire your plug-in socket. For this, you will require a Phillips screwdriver. First thing, you're going to take the nut off of the back. You can remove your rubber seal, and you're going to twist apart your protective cap from your receptacle. Once you have it to this stage, you can take your Phillips screwdriver and back off the stainless set screws, which allows you to now place your wires into the holes. You will notice that there's a 1 and a 2 marked on the back of the receptacle and a 1 and a 2 marked on the front of the receptacle. Also, there's a little white dot that'll be right above the 1. You want to have your black neutral wire going to 1 and your white positive wire going to number 2. Before you wire a receptacle, it is important to note at this point, whether you're using a 90 bracket or flush mounting, the backing plate must be installed over your power cable at this point. Once you've wired your receptacle, you will not be able to put it through your backing plate. So make sure, like I said, you either do your 90 plate or your flush plate over the power cable at this point. It is also good to note that your faceplate with the Scotty logo and the texture can be saved to install after you've done the wiring. You're looking for your backing plate, which has larger diameter holes and a recess for your rubber cap. So simply slide either your backing plate or your 90 plate over your power cable, and then we'll continue to wire. We're going to take our nut, slide it over our power cable. We're going to take the housing and slide that over your power cable, and then simply line up, as we were talking about before, your black neutral or negative onto the number 1 terminal with the white mark highlighting that, and your white positive goes to the bottom number 2. Simply slide those in the holes. This is where you're going to take your Phillips screwdriver and you're going to securely, but not over tighten, the stainless steel screws. You don't need to go crazy on these, just nice and snug, but nothing crazy. Once those are snug, simply twist it so you have your receptacle in that position and slide the housing over top of the receptacle. At this point, I'm going to note as well, you do not want to tighten up the back nut. You want to leave this off and loose at this point because you want to securely tighten the cover to the receptacle. We got 2 ways to do that. At this point, you can take that faceplate with the Scotty logo, and you'll notice there's 2 little flats that match up with 2 flats on the receptacle. You can use this faceplate as a bit of a wrench and twist the housing to the receptacle that way. Or you can take your plug, put that into your receptacle, and you can use those to twist and securely tighten your housing to your receptacle. Once you've got it to that point, you want to take your nut and slide that over the receptacle to tighten that seal at the back, which creates a waterproof seal on your receptacle. Now that you have your receptacle wired and you have your housing tightened to the receptacle, you're going to take the rubber cap, slide it over top, and whether you had your backing plate or your 90 pre-installed on your wire, you simply slide the receptacle and the cap into the backing plate. And at this point, it's a little tricky, but you turn your receptacle with a white dot at the top and the 2 notches on the side, and that is going to line up with the 2 flats on the side of the plate, and it'll all sandwich together. And now that is ready to slide into your boat and be mounted with the 4 mounting screws. As you can see, we have a piece of metal to simulate the side of your boat. At this point, you're going to simply feed your flush mount back through what would be your gunnel and line your 4 holes up so that you can now go and mount your face plates to your gunnel with the supplied hardware. Now we're going to install the hardware. For this step, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver and an 11/32 wrench or nut driver. You're simply going to slide in your 4 supplied number 8 screws. Washer goes on the back side. Nylock on the back side. We recommend to always never seize your stainless hardware when you're installing, and to pre-start all 4 screws before you tighten them all down. Once you got your nut and your screw in there, you're simply going to snug these guys up. Again, don't need to go crazy on this, just so it's nice and snug and nothing's moving. And tighten all 4 screws up at the same time. With your face plates and all 4 fasteners installed, your face plate should look something like this, nice and clean, no big gaps. Your protective rubber cap should very easily be able to go on and off. With 4 nuts, 4 washers on the backside, and you're ready to go. If you're using the 90 bracket instead of the flush mount, the installation is very similar with a couple minor differences. One being, you do not require the washers to go behind. When you turn the plate over, you'll simply see there's some nut pockets that the 832 nylocks drop into. Use the same screws. Get all 4 in before you tighten them, and you simply tighten up once you have all 4 screws and nuts in place. We will note too, there is 2 mounting holes on the top. If you're replacing an old Scotty 90 bracket, these are in the same location, so you will be able to pull your old 90 off, mount the new one on. We did not supply the mounting hardware though for this, because every boat's different and we're not sure in your application whether you need wood screws, machine screws, and also how long those screws are. Find the fasteners that best suit your needs at your local hardware store. Now that you have your 4 screws installed and securely fastened, your receptacle should look something like this. Faceplate and 90 bracket with no gaps. Your cap should be easily able to move back and forth. And now you're ready to go. Now let's take a look at the plug. To wire the plug, you're simply going to remove the back nut. You're going to take the housing and unthread that, and your lock nut off. This exposes the 2 terminals, and just like the receptacle, they are marked number 1, number 2, with the white dot on top indicating number 1 and number 2 on the bottom. You want to make sure that you get your positive and negative wires wired in the same on your plug and your receptacle. If you don't, you'll have your downrigger or prawn puller run backwards. Now that your plug is disassembled, let's wire it. Simply take your nut, place that over your power cable, followed by the housing, and then your lock nut. And do note that on the lock nut, there is 3 tabs. You want these facing outside. You do not want these facing in. So with the 3 lock tabs facing out, slide the lock nut over. Now you're ready to find your number 1 with the white dot, or your negative. Goes to negative, positive goes to positive. Again, you're going to tighten down the locks. Not crazy tight on these, just needs to be snug. You don't need to go crazy. Simply twist those up. Slide the lock nut over. Slide your housing. Tighten your housing. This can be a little finicky. You want to make sure you don't get a cross thread on there. Take your time doing that. And again, just like the receptacle, you want to do this stage before you put your nut on the back. Easiest way we've found to do the tightening is simply line up your plug with your socket and use that to give a good seal on there. And then at that point, put your lock nut on the back, tighten that guy up. Just has to be hand tight, doesn't have to be crazy. but that will produce your seal on the back of the plug, which gives you a waterproof seal. Another note on the plug and socket is you'll notice there's a white marker and a notch. To install, you simply press your plug into your receptacle, and this lock nut simply locks your plug to your receptacle. To take it out, undo your lock nut and pull straight to undo your plug from your receptacle. You don't need to twist the plug in the receptacle. Now that we've talked about wiring and hardware, let's back up and talk about putting the hole in the boat. There's multiple ways to do this, but here's a couple that we suggest. Before you drill the hole, let's talk about the template. Take the backing plate that comes in your kit, use this on your boat to transfer with a jiffy marker your 4 holes and your center hole location. Once you have that marked on your boat, 2 methods that we suggest is either a hole saw, you want 1.5 to 1 5/8, or another method is with what's called a step drill. Again, 1.5 to 1 5/8. The step drill is extremely handy if you're replacing an existing Marinko receptacle, because you'll already have a center hole in your boat. You're just gonna need to open it up a little bit. After you've got that center hole in there, you're gonna take a 3/16 drill, and this is gonna allow you to drill your 4 clearance holes for the number 8 fasteners that you're gonna need to securely fasten the face plates to the side of your boat. Since the introduction of the electric downrigger in 1990, we've tried to make it the best product possible. We really do feel that you're gonna enjoy the new plug and receptacle, and we think it's a step in the right direction. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at www.scotty.com or 1-800-214-0141.